The Kona shame goes to the driver who was kind of the loserest of all losers.
Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parley.
Hi everyone, it's Matt Hickey from Pit Lane Parley. Super excited the IndyCar season is back. Texas is finished. The race last night. Thoroughly enjoyed the race. If you want to hear my full thoughts on everything as far as some of the incidents, reaction to TV ratings or the NBC broadcast, the little things that we saw during the race, please listen to our full episode that's coming out this Friday with Mike, Jess, and I discussing everything. So if you kind of want the recap and all that, go there. This one is strictly just going to be winners and losers. Just a quick couple of thoughts about some of the drivers who I thought did really well, some of the drivers who I thought struggled, and the return of the cone of shame, which is something that I did a long time ago when I first started blogging. The cone of shame goes to the driver who was kind of the loserest of all losers. So it's not something that anybody ever wants to win per se, but I'll give you kind of a quick recap of some of the things that I saw with certain drivers and highlighting some of the good, some of the bad, and the worst of the worst. So we're going to start with winners. Obviously, Scott Dixon, the big winner. He did a fantastic job during the race. He had a rocket ship. I think he led over 75% of the race and brought it home. Great job by him and the team. I thought they did really well all weekend, and it was my prediction on the show that we had, so can't wait to humble brag a little bit to Jess and Mike, but as a whole, again, he is such a good driver, and I hope people appreciate just how good Scott Dixon is. There are a lot of people I'd like to highlight, but I'm only going to stick to one, and I'm going to pick Conor Daly. I think Conor did a fantastic job, especially since he started 17th, I think, and it was not an easy track to pass at. So the fact that he ended up finishing P6 to me is fantastic, and hopefully a good sign for Carlin this year, who seemed to have sorted some of their issues out since Toronto of last year. So if they can continue this, and especially on ovals where they've never stood out per se, we got a lot of hope for them this year. So good job, Conor Daly. I thought he did a fantastic job. Here's today's whiteboard message. All right, moving on to the losers. First off is Rahal Letterman, Lanigan Racing. Unfortunately, Takuma Sato had his accident in qualifying. I shared some thoughts on that in the live stream about how I'm not sure entirely what he was doing with his racing line. We knew that turns 1 and 2 were a little rough, and not really sure why you would go high. So he totaled his car, and they couldn't unfortunately get it repaired in time for the race. So he had a did not start. So that's not a good start to the year for him. And then before the race started, Graham Rahal ran into some sort of technical issue and joined the race several laps down. So really couldn't imagine a worse start for the team. Feel really bad for him, but I'm sure they'll rebound and recover well. Another loser I'd like to highlight, unfortunately, is Alexander Rossi. For a guy who's going to be competing for the championship, never a good way to start the season with a drive-through penalty right away and to go 2 laps down. He had an issue with his drinks bottle. I know Texas is hot, and I know not racing without a beverage would be very physically demanding, and it would suck. I just was wondering whose decision it was to try to fix that, because ultimately it did cost them 2 laps, and kind of weighing the pros and the cons of the situation. It's not easy, but unfortunately, it did ruin his race. So, not a great start to the year. I think he finished 15th or somewhere thereabouts. So, he's already down to 30 something points to Scott Dixon, which is never good. So, I'm going to say that Rossi was another big loser for the evening. And now for the cone of shame, something that I don't know why. I'm glad people out there appreciate it. It's something just decided to run with one day. But for the cone of shame, again, which is the biggest loser of the race, unfortunately, I will have to give it to Renus VK. They series did allow rookies or first timers to Texas to participate in a session where it was just them on the track. I can't remember. I think it was either 30 or 40 minutes, and it was interrupted about 8 to 10 minutes in when unfortunately VK crashed. It was a rookie mistake. He put his two wheels below the white line, and that is a surefire way to spin on a banked track. So he spun and hit the wall. Unfortunately, couldn't qualify. Plus, you go into the race with the lack of confidence of knowing what your car is like after it got repaired. And then in the race, didn't get a great look as to what happened, but I'm assuming he went on the wrong line in turns 1 and 2 because he got into the darker part of the track that was that artificial rubber that NASCAR had put down. And unfortunately, he hit the wall, came back down to the inside of the track, and took out poor Alex Palou, another rookie who was just minding his own business and was just the wrong place, wrong time. So I feel really bad for Palou. But for VK to crash twice on his first oval and his first IndyCar start doesn't exactly instill confidence. He's got a long ways to go, though. First impressions do matter, but he can recover and hopefully turn this season around because it's just one race. But as far as starts go, it's not the greatest start to his IndyCar career, so let's hope he can turn it around. So like I said, a much more in-depth analysis to everything coming on our podcast this Friday. We'll be recording that here soon. Can't wait to share all of our thoughts on everything. Jess, Mike, and I, we love doing these podcasts, and we love sharing our thoughts and debating with each other. So please check that out. It's going to be a great episode. And thank you so much for watching this video. There's going to be more of these to come, and we'll continue to dish out some cone of shames to people, but really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Thank you very much. Super excited that the IndyCar season is back. Wife's home. My wife's looking for me. Sammy, I'm in here. I don't know if she's going to come in the room. Sammy. In the bedroom. Hi. Hello. I still don't think she knows where I am. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what was... Oh. I thought it was David Lighting. Anyways.